The greatest moment at Braves Field took place on October 11, 1948. The 1948 World Series was a matchup between the Cleveland Indians and the Boston Braves, who were both looking to end a long championship drought. The Indians were led by player-manager and league MVP Lou Boudreau and had the American League's best pitching trio in Hall of Famers Bob Feller and Bob Lemon and rookie phenom Gene Bearden. Cleveland had defeated the Boston Red Sox in a one-game playoff, and they were playing in their first fall classic since 1920 when they beat the Brooklyn Robins for their only title. The Braves were playing in their first series since their miracle season of 1914 when they defeated the Philadelphia Athletics for their first title and were led by the famous pitching duo of Warren Spahn and Johnny Sain. The Braves would win Game 1 on a masterful complete-game shutout by Johnny Sain, but the Indians would even up the series in Game 2 on a complete game by Bob Lemon. When the series shifted to Cleveland, the Tribe would win the next two games and would have a chance to wrap up the series in Game 5 with Feller on the mound, but the Braves would not go quietly as they roughed up Feller for 7 runs and won 11-5. The series shifted back to Boston for Game 6, and with a chance to even up the series, Boston went with Bill Voiselle, making his first start in the series against Bob Lemon. The Indians would strike first in the third on a double by Boudreau to take a 1-0 lead, and after squandering an opportunity in the bottom half, the Braves would tie the game in the fourth on a single by Mike McCormick and would load the bases, but Lemon would get out of the jam. The game would remain tied until the top of the sixth when Joe Gordon led off with a home run and the Indians would tack on an insurance run to take a 3-1 lead. After a scoreless seventh, Cleveland was 6 outs away from the title, and they were looking for insurance in the eighth. With runners at first and second and 1 out, Eddie Robinson came to the plate and hit a single to right to make the score 4-1, and the Indians had no idea how big that run would be. After Lemon had cruised through the first 7 innings, the Braves would get him in the eighth. Tommy Holmes would lead off with a single, and 1 out later, Earl Torgeson doubled to right to put runners on second and third to bring up Bob Elliott as the tying run. Lemon would walk Elliott and be taken out, and Gene Bearden, winner of the one-game playoff, came in to relieve. Bearden gave up a sac fly to Clint Knatzer and a double to Phil Macy, and the Braves had narrowed the lead to 1. With the tying and go-ahead runs now in scoring position, McCormick came to the plate with a chance to put Boston ahead, but Bearden would retire him on a comebacker. The game would remain 4-3 going into the home half of the ninth, and Bearden was on the mound to close it out. He gave up a leadoff walk to Eddie Stanky, and pinch hitter Sivy Sisti came to the plate, hoping to move Stanky to second. Sisti attempted to lay down a sacrifice bunt, but would pop up to catcher Jim Hegan. Hegan would then throw out Stanky for a double play. With the Braves down to their final out, Tommy Holmes came up as their last hope, but Bearden would retire him on a fly ball, and the World Championship belonged to Cleveland. Bearden would never duplicate his rookie season and would retire after 5 more years, but even though his career was short-lived, he would forever be remembered for his win, the 48 one-game playoff, and his brave work in the World Series that year, in which to this day remains as the Indians' last World Championship. The Braves would play in Boston for 4 more seasons before relocating to Milwaukee in 1953 and eventually Atlanta, where they would become a dynasty, winning 14 straight division titles, which included a World Championship against the Indians in a rematch in 1995.